Pretty sure I haven't found any eggs. Let's go, if I go into the kitchen and talk to my people. You know how to poach an egg? What? No, I've never stolen an egg in my life, and you can't prove otherwise. Okay, wait. What was up here? Oh, that's where I got the spices. Top left. Should have rolled. It's the cellar. It's the 3 statues and balls. Something who strengthens clothing for museums. All right. Oh, you have 2 books you could put back. Fun Law and Dueling Banjos. They go on different shelves so you can't do both at once. Fun Law. You find the shelf where Fun Law belongs and put it back. The next book on the shelf is entitled Gun Law, which might be even more entertaining. Great! This book is an overview of the laws regarding guns, which, even at this point in history, already don't make any sense. We'll definitely give this a shot, but find the shelf where Dueling Banjos is located and put it back. The previous book on the shelf is entitled Duel Law, which seems to be about the legal issues surrounding dueling. Never know when that might come in handy. This thick legal tome explains all the laws about dueling with things other than banjos. Duel, we noted. Alright, so we did it. We solved a thing, I assume. I can now go to the gallery. What's your problem, anyway? Wait. Did I not read the book? You learn basically everything there is to know about gun law. Now you can be the prosecuting attorney and defense counsel in addition to judge, jury, and executioner. You got a perk. Gun law. You know enough about guns to know that they who have the guns make the laws. After that, you take the book back to the library, return to its shelf, and walk back to where you were previously. I didn't destroy it in hilarious fashion. You learn all of the laws pertaining to dueling. It turns out, when 2 guys want to murder each other in a fair and reasonable manner, things get legally tricky. You are reasonably well informed about the specific subset of gun law pertaining to duels and duel-adjacent activities. Alright, is that enough? What's your problem anyway? It's legal stuff you'd never understand. In fact, I think you'll find I'm quite conversant in the finer points of our justice system, particularly as it pertains to guns and gun-related activity. Horseradish, you're all trousers and no briefs. What does Matoya say? All talk and no trousers. So this is similar. Just try me, smart lady. Fine, obviously you aren't going to leave me alone, so just ask your questions. I'm Mentor Roulette, speaking for the record. State your name, occupation, and cause of death. Felicity Wainwright, defense attorney, lost a court-appointed trial by combat. What? Trial by combat has been outlawed for like 15 years. You do understand that ghosts don't visually age as time passes, right? Oh, right. So your client called for trial by combat, which meant you and the prosecutor had to face off in a duel? That's correct. And you lost? She squints at you. Are you acting dumb to try and throw me off guard? I withdraw the question. Why are you stuck as a ghost? Because although trial by combat was already well out of fashion at the time, it was still a valid legal recourse. I should have been prepared for the possibility, but I wasn't. My lack of training resulted in an innocent man being executed for murder. Oof. How was he executed? Hanging, I assume. Obviously, I wasn't around to see it. So to release you, I'd need to prove that the loss wasn't your fault? The trial duel was completely fair and above board. There is no chance of there having been foul play on the prosecutor's part. My loss was my own. Then, I'd have to prove your client was actually guilty, and therefore your feelings of responsibility are misplaced. The look she gives you is hard and cold. Look, you think you know a thing or two about the law? How about you tell me the first rule of being a defense attorney? Don't make fun of the judge's beard. Don't refer to his gavel as weird little hammer. Don't accidentally call him Mom. You have to trust and believe in your client. If you don't believe your client is innocent, you'll never convince anyone else he is either. So if I want to convince you he was guilty, you'll have an uphill fight, fella. You are essentially playing prosecutor here. Alright, tell me about the case. I have played enough Phoenix Wright to know that this is hysterical. My defendant was Matthew Guilty McCready, accused of the murder of Victor Vic Timsbury at noon on June 18th, 1878 in Reno. I have some questions. Go ahead. Your client was actually named Guilty? Come on. Names don't mean anything. I once had a client named Ike Innocent. Ike Ildeguy, and he was totally innocent. For someone's actual legal name, sure, but nicknames are usually given with some sort of basis. You've never met a really tall guy called Tiny or a fat guy called Slim? Arguably, the nickname Guilty would reinforce my client's innocence. That's totally absurd, but I'll let it rest for now. This was at noon precisely? Yes, that was confirmed by witnesses. Also, McCready owned a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hours. There were witnesses? About half a dozen of them. I'm pretty sure there's something you aren't telling me. I'm not obligated to play my hand face up, Mr. Prosecutor. What was the cause of death? Timsbury was shot through the heart with a .45 caliber revolver. And did McCready own such a gun? Yes, he was holding it at the time, and subsequent examination showed that it had been recently fired. Are you messing with me? Any further questions? Yeah, I do have some questions, yeah. Shot with a pistol in front of witnesses at exactly noon. Was this a duel? So you can add 2 + 2 after all. Well done. Well, as luck would have it, I've recently read a whole book about duel law. What? Why? No reason. I just happened across it at the library and thought it might be interesting. You read an entire code of law you found at random, just for the heck of it? Yep. Let me just do a quick review. A duel is legal, provided it's between exactly 2 people at a specific, prearranged place and time using the same, or at least essentially similar, weapons, and they have to either face each other down and quick draw at the appointed moment or do the 10 paces, turn, and fire routine. Is that right? That's the gist of it, yes. So I guess let's start with you telling me the facts of the case, and I'll rudely interrupt you if I have any questions. Alright, but if you push me on trivial nonsense, I'll get mad and you'll have to start over. That seems fair. Go ahead. McCready and Tim's... Should I put on... The bailiff will tackle you. Yeah, I do like his videos. Should I mute the music and put on the Phoenix Wright music? Can we get cornered in here? Or will they do it? They'll do it for me. McCready and Timsbury got into an argument in the saloon on the evening of June 17th. Apparently, Timsbury accused McCready of cheating at poker. I have some questions. Shoot. Tell me more about the argument. There isn't much to tell. The other players in the game had already folded their hands in that round, so they weren't paying very close attention. All we know is that Timsbury suddenly accused McCready of being a dirty cheatin' varmint, and McCready said Timsbury was just sore because he'd been losing all night. Did McCready have a history of cheating? He'd been accused of it once or twice before, but Reno's a gambling town, and he hung out in the rough part of it. Getting accused of cheating by a sore loser when you're on a lucky streak is par for the course. But if McCready already had a history of cheating, it would be irrelevant because the reason for the duel is immaterial to the legality of the duel itself. Motive isn't an issue here. But remember how I warned you about ticking me off with stupid digressions? This is an excellent example. Objection! I'm gonna shout it. What the? This is extremely relevant. If McCready was a habitual cheater, it's likely he would have cheated in the duel as well. And somehow you're going to prove to me that McCready was a habitual poker cheat 17 years after the fact? How exactly do you intend to accomplish that, Mr. Prosecutor? Even if you did somehow pull that off, it would be circumstantial evidence at best. You'd have to prove he cheated in the duel itself, in front of witnesses. What form do you imagine this cheating took, pray tell? Mirrors? We're done here. Get out. Rats. Let's go. Alright, so I'm going to say, tell me more of the argument. Then if he had a history of cheating. Okay. What day of the week was this? Monday. Monday, June 17th, 1878. Well, that makes sense. Everyone's always a bit grumpy on a Monday. They should make the weekends Sunday and Monday instead. Then you could spend Monday relaxing instead of having to go to work. But then, whatever. Do you have any other questions? No, go on with the story. I mean, testimony. The bartender yelled at them to take it outside, but since it was dark out, they agreed to meet the next day for a duel. That would be the 18th, you said. Okay. I have a question. Did they set a specific time for the duel? Yes, high noon. Figures. Why is it always high noon? Tradition, I suppose. And since the sun is at its highest in the sky, everything's brightly lit and there aren't many shadows, so that's good for gunfighting. Makes sense. Plus, you can go have your duel on your lunch break. Let me ask something else. Why didn't they just fight right then? Because it was dark. You can't have a gunfight in the dark. No, I get that, but they could have had a regular old fist fight. They were mad enough to shoot each other to death, but not to punch each other? Well, without getting too psychoanalytical, these guys were gunfighters. I mean, they counted that as a significant part of their identity. Fighting without guns was not just outside their wheelhouse, they considered it a waste of their time and talents. Like asking a fancy French chef to make you a grilled cheese sandwich. Why didn't they just not fight? What? Well, a fight breaks out in the heat of the moment, that's one thing, but they cool off enough to schedule a meeting for the next day and still go through with it? A card game is a heck of a thing to get killed over. Objection! I've seen nighttime gunfights in westerns. I've also seen underwater gunfights in westerns. It's an honor thing, I suppose. That and they were each confident that they wouldn't be the one getting killed. Yes, it's dumb, but it's also extremely immaterial. Toxic definitions of masculinity and the general lawlessness of the frontier are not what's on trial here. Fair enough. What happened next? Well, the next day, they both showed up shortly before noon and squared off about 30 feet from each other. When noon struck, McCready fired, fast enough that Timsbury didn't get his shot off on account of having his head shot off. That's pretty much the long and short of it. More details. He fired exactly at noon? Yes, as soon as the church bell started ringing. So McCready fired as soon as the church bell struck noon? Yes. That is what I just said. Have you got a point to make, or are you just stalling for time to think? I have another question. What weapons were they using? McCready had a .45 caliber single-action Army revolver. Timsbury had an older model, .36 caliber cap and ball Navy revolver, which he loaded with paper cartridges instead of packing the gunpowder by hand. I could object to that, but I won't yet. He said there were witnesses, about half a dozen of them, watching from across the street or peeking through half-open shutters. Were they interviewed? Yes, and their stories lined up with what I just told you. Is it? I never really thought about it, because, I mean, at any time when people would have been using tolling bells to announce the time, it would have been pretty hard to tell exactly when it was noon anyway, like down to the second. Were any of them known associates of MacCready? I'm not aware of any of them being actual friends with MacCready, but he was a local, and a lot of people knew him. She gives you a suspicious look. Wait a minute, just where are you going with... Objection! Oh, come on. Any one of those people could have interceded on MacCready's behalf. What? And done what exactly? Well, they could have shot Timsford with a more accurate weapon, like a rifle, or... Then there'd have been 2 gunshots instead of 1. Or are you suggesting they shot him with a poison blow dart gun? Well, was he tested for poison? Get out! Damn it. Okay. Go on. Go on. Can I object to this? Are you kidding? They're both pistols. A modern cartridge revolver versus an antique cap and ball loader? Ridiculous. That antique was in production until 1873 and was considered one of the most reliable and popular 6-shooters in the territories. Furthermore, the restriction against differing weapons in a duel is about pistols versus rifles, or the proverbial knife in a gunfight, or as a more recent example, a nitwit trying to argue the law against a professional attorney. Jeez, that's a bit harsh. I have been ejected yet again. Fortunately, I have a time machine. What was the name of the saloon? The Two-Headed Horse. Weird. Did they have one? No, I think the proprietor was going for a sort of double entendre, but it doesn't really work. Huh. No, it really doesn't. Two-Headed Spider, maybe. Anyway, can we get on with this? I have a question. Something else. Why did they fight right then? Let me ask something else. They set a specific time. We fired exactly at noon. Okay, you also mentioned his pocket watch. Yes, he had a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hour. Is that important? Gah. Okay. Objection. Gah! Oh, yeah, I missed it, but that's what I'm doing right now. I went back to the time thing because they mentioned the pocket watch. MacCready had been accused of cheating in the past, and this time, he was. What are you even talking about? All he had to do was set his watch a few seconds early. That doesn't make any sense. He didn't shoot early. He shot when the church bells rang. That's verified by witness testimony. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he used the watch to warn him when the church bells were about to ring. A 5-second get-ready alert would have given him a huge advantage in reaction time. What do you say to that, counselor? You know, I'll give you that one. That's not bad. There's just 2 problems with that argument. Oh? What? Firstly, you're just guessing. You have no evidence. Well. And secondly, even if MacCready was using that trick, which he may well have been, he was pretty clever, it wouldn't be illegal. What? There's nothing in duel law prohibiting the use of minor strategies like that. So long as MacCready didn't fire before the appointed time, it's all above board. Nice try, Mr. Prosecutor, but I think you'd better go think about this case a bit more before trying again. She pushes you out of the gallery and shuts the door behind you. Well, nuts. I don't know if that means that I need to investigate more? Or if there's something else. Like, this is fun. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna keep it in mind. We'll go back to her at some point. We wander around a bit and see if there's anything. Can I go back to the library and just look up something? Oh! Oh, okay, there's a trap, guys. Bound in stone. Each chapter... It turns out to be a book about geology. It's bound in stone. It appears that each chapter is devoted to a different type of stone. It is printed on slabs of the stone in question. Move the book. Thanks. I thought I'd never be able to get out from under there. At least now I know all about the particular type of granite described on that one page. How'd you get trapped like that in the first place? Well, I work at the info desk in the visitor center, so on my breaks I like to research different kinds of info. You know, just in case anyone asks. I guess you never know when someone might ask you about rocks. Exactly. Oh man, I'm late getting back. Feel free to stop at my counter if you have any questions. Okay. Oh, no, that's not it. There's a visitor center. Teresa Olivia Gunn. Is this also going to be part of a puzzle? Also going to turn it. Oh, I can't turn it off. I thought maybe I could turn it off. Oh, it's you, my hero and savior. Dan's staple remover. Did you know? He was the inventor of the staple remover. Did you know that? They'd met at an inventors convention 3 years previously. Dan decided to take her last name because he had wanted to call his invention Office Chompers and was always a little annoyed that people called it after him instead. Vanished mysteriously in 1889. It's assumed he was killed by bandits while he was on the road for gun industry's bandits. And then all 3 of the girls went missing the year after. Built it in the mid to the late 70s. 8 bedrooms plus 1 bathroom and a whole room. Cold floor room, boiling alley. My favorite room is the library. Send meals up to a room in the kitchen. Dumbwaiter. Interesting. I know tons of stuff about rocks, specifically igneous rocks and granite in particular. Did you know that granite contains at least 25% quartz, which makes it useful as a resistor in all kinds of magic devices? Hitting something with a rock was the very first human invention, and the second was swearing. Okay. The third weirdest sport, curling, uses stones and brushes made specifically out of granite. This stuff isn't randomly generated. This is actually something they wrote. Okay, now he's repeating them. Granite gravestones and memorials are considered a status symbol because the tools to carve and engrave such hard stone with speed and precision have only recently been invented. In fact, until about 15 years ago, there was only one workshop in the world that produced them, run by the inventor Alexander MacDonald, who also invented the Harzburger, although that proved less popular because Harzburgite is not one of the edible kinds of igneous rock. Okay. The guy from the bar cart is leading heavily into personal life. Shane? Is that your name? Shane? Sure. Now it's Ira. I could buy a shot glass. I could. Shot glass that says Mentor? I've already got such a nice mug. I could use a shot glass to go with it. Gain XP when you drink booze. How about that? Maybe I'll drink some booze right now to celebrate. Muscle, moxie, muscle and thing, speed, not drinking that. Yeah, Schmaltz Blue Ribbon. And 20 XP. You won! And did I? Oh my gosh, I have a ton of stuff again. Massive amounts of dickering? Why not? Ta-da! I still don't know what to do, though. Oh, okay. Spooky lullaby sheet music. You've transcribed a spooky lullaby onto the sheet music, or rather, something you used your hands to perform that operation, since you don't actually know how to read sheet music. So that was great, and I'm glad I did it. But what are we going to do? I don't think this is helping. Oh, it is. It is helping. Well, no, that was nice. Soothing. That's one way to do it, I suppose. It seems rude to shoot off guns in the music room anyway. My science rifle actually has a mode to convert it into an electric bagpipe, but I don't use it very much. Why not? Well, firstly, I'm a terrible bagpipe player, and secondly, you have to blow into the end of the rifle, and that makes me really nervous. Understandably. Alright, so how many ghosts are left in total? 8. All of the first floor ghosts. I've had the knifey guy. Knife checkers. Oh yeah, let's how's my pinholes? I don't know actually if I actually have to equip it or not. Let's equip it. You pull out your cue. The ghost nods and racks the balls. He proceeds to crush you. Something feels wrong, like your cue isn't connecting with the ball properly. The ghost shakes his head at you. You're totally new to this, ain't you? You gotta chalk your cue. Chalk? Can I borrow yours? Mine's ghost chalk. Wouldn't work. Dang. Chalk that one up to inexperience. Where am I going to find regular chalk? Somewhere, I bet. Where? I would think in, like, the kids' room, right? Now that I know that I need chalk, it'll be in the toy chest. Except not. Now. I already walked over to it. It was simply the fourth attendee at the party. Come back here. Okay, so I know that I'm looking for a tin can. Oh, I forgot all about this. Can I synthesize chalk? Does not appear to be the case. Also, I guess I'm not. Technically, we are under the blind playthrough rules. I'm not really looking for. I mean, it's strange because West of Loathing is not normally a puzzle game, but that's kind of what this whole DLC seems to be. Is in addition to combat, there's a bunch of stuff that we're doing. Should just be calcium carbonate. I guess I didn't know what chalk was. Yeah, normally for blind play, it's even people who haven't played ask. What else would I need to make chili? Meat? Probably something from the kitchen. I'm most annoyed by the kitchen guy. I need to offer him an egg. Or something. Do I have anything egg-related in my inventory? Should I smoke this? Stunk up. You light the cigar and take a single puff. It turns out a single puff is enough to make you stink for the rest of the day. Stunk up. Your clothes and hair smell so awful that you're inured against external stenches. Gross. Oh wait, you eat the Frisco Poppy? Really now?
I can't do it if you're watching. If you just turn around.
Lovely.
All right.
A lovely host.
Can't do it if you're leering at me. It's creepy.
A lovely host from a lovely streamer. Hello, blind and friends. I unexpectedly find myself puzzling my way through West of Loathing, the DLC. I think I need an egg. I think an egg is what I'm looking for, but I should keep in mind that it may be locked behind completion of some other puzzle. I'm looking for an egg. I'm looking for a tin can. Maybe, okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. Just to keep things straight, I'm gonna go actually locate each of the ghosts that I need to defeat. Here is number 1. I need chili for him. I have the beans and the spices. I think I just need the meat. Number 1. Meat for chili. Or a bowl or something. Good La Mulana practice. Someday it'll happen. Number 2. Egg. I guess. Or a cookbook. Hand him a cookbook that says what poaching eggs is. Parlor has nothing which I can determine. Do I have to stand still in here for 30 seconds? No. Cellar, there were no ghosts in the cellar. Right, wait, why does she say... She says 4? 4 ghosts. There might be another ghost. There must be another ghost on this floor that I haven't met. Interesting. Okay. 2 here. 1 in the library. Oh no, wait. So what was 3? Wait, hold on. I'm not even doing a little bit of a good job counting. Do I only know of 2 ghosts here? If there's none in the cellar... So 2 ghosts unaccounted for. 1 here in the library. I need a tin can, in order to make a silencer. 1 here in the gallery. I need some sort of court knowledge. It's a bit up in the air. I may just go and do that some more. We found a Phoenix Wright ghost, and we need to debate them into submission. Here's the bowling alley. And here is... that was a guy. Over here... ah, yes. 5 is chalk. We got him. Alright, so there's one on the top floor that's unaccounted for. So three missing ghosts. 2 on the first floor, 1 on the third floor. And the things I'm looking for are meat, egg, can, chalk, and court knowledge. Which might mean a book that I'm going to use to go find another book in the library. I guess for lack of... Let me read this again. Alone. I already objected to that one. I think I did the... yeah, at least she hasn't whipped me. Unless that whip sound effect is her whipping me when I object. Go on. You fired exactly at noon. Objection! What the heck? McCready fired at the wrong time. What are you talking about? He fired exactly at noon with the church bells. There are witnesses. That's right. He fired at clock noon, but the duel was set for high noon. They aren't the same thing. High noon is just when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Depending on geography and the time of the year, it can be hours different from clock noon. McCready fired early, and that makes the duel illegal. So what do you say to that, counselor? I've got to hand it to you, Prosecutor Roulette. You're a lot better at this than I was giving you credit for. That's a good thought you had there. There's just one problem with it. Oh? What's that? I already thought it. Take that. She hurls a small book at you, which you just barely managed to catch. 1878 Nautical Almanac. Gah, what the heck is this? I did my homework when I was preparing for that trial. My legal homework, since at the time I expected there to be an actual trial, not a gunfight. What you're holding there is a nautical almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks if you'd like to do the math yourself, but if you just look up solar noon, aka high noon, for June 18th and make the adjustment for Reno's longitude, what do you think you get? You've got to be kidding me. That's right, Mr. Prosecutor, 12 o'clock p.m. precisely. No! Well, damn. Nice try, though. I mean that sincerely. That's all my ammo. I can't think of any other way to disprove McCready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel. Yes. And that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands. An innocent man's death. You sure are good at repeating the things people say.
An innocent man's death. What if he didn't die?
Say what now? Well, you didn't actually see the execution, right? Yes, well, I was indisposed, you may say, being dead and all, so you don't actually know whether or not it happened. Oh, come on. Look, I appreciate the effort, but you're barking at the moon. Let me ask you something. Alright, go ahead. Was the trial right after the duel? The 19th? No. I don't know what Reno's like now, but it didn't have a proper courthouse then. You can't try a murder charge in the sheriff's front parlor. McCready sat in jail for a couple weeks, and then they transported him to Frisco. What with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. Jeez, so much for the right to a speedy trial. The wheels grind slow. What can you tell me about McCready? He was a gunfighter through and through, and by that I mean he was an adrenaline addict, and dueling was his needle of choice. Hell, if you had told me you had evidence that he cheated at poker with the specific intent of baiting people into challenging him to duels, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. He was a sly one. Somi, hey, how you doing? We're mere minutes away from ending, but we're at a great point. We've been trying to convince this ghost that the person that they were defending as a lawyer, as an attorney, while they were alive, was actually guilty of the crime because they're unable to pass on because they believe that an innocent person was put to death because of their failure. West of Phoenix right. Yes. Objection. If you told me he had evidence... Okay, right. Her expression softens and she sighs. I make him sound like a real devil. That's not fair. He was smart and charming and could have been a good man if he had chosen an entirely different life for himself. Anything else? Well, I recall he had a real good head for numbers. He told me that he never forgot a date, and every man he'd ever killed, he remembered to pour a beer on their grave on their birthday. Oh, that's nice. A nicer birthday present would have been not having killed them in the first place, of course. Yep. When was the execution? Well, we held the trial by combat on the 26th, and that was a Friday. They don't execute prisoners on the weekend, so presumably it would have been the following Monday, the 29th. In the morning? What with setting up the gallows and letting a crowd gather, they usually happen in the afternoon, around 3 typically. Why did he invoke trial by combat? Assuming he was innocent, why would McCready invoke trial by combat? His case was pretty straightforward. A duel only worsened his odds. I was mighty surprised, let me tell you. The only thing I can figure was it was his damn fool sense of gunfighter's pride or something. Like that was the only form of justice he was willing to submit himself to. So do I need to find some evidence of, like, when he... Yeah, if you don't know anything about this game, this is a very, very cool game. It's very funny. This is part of the DLC. I've actually streamed 2 runs of this game before, and so this is my 3rd time streaming it, except this time I have a DLC. And the DLC is about this manor full of ghosts. And you can just fight them, and it would actually be pretty easy if I did that. But I assume that you get something better and probably an achievement too if you talk all of the ghosts into passing on to the afterlife instead. That seems to be the whole point of this DLC, is solving these puzzles. The main game itself isn't all that puzzly. It's more of a straightforward RPG, but a very funny one. So somehow, somewhere, maybe in the library? Can I ask her? Can you help me with some library stuff? Have I asked her this at all? I'm looking for a book on a specific topic. I'm afraid our card catalog is out being reorganized. Someone sorted all the cards by call number instead of by title or author, which made it quite useless. You'll have to search the stacks manually. How do I get started? If you can find a book on a similar topic to what you're looking for, its call number will direct you to other books on that topic. So this was a hint towards a puzzle we've already solved. precise definition of a word. There's a dictionary over there. Regrettably, it's a few years out of date, so it doesn't have technocracy, secular humanism, or brunch yet, but it should be sufficient for your purposes. The word doesn't appear to be in the dictionary. She was correct. Those are 3 words that are not in the dictionary. Delicious paste. That paste is for book repairs, not eating. Aw, please, no! So I was pretty sure in order to... Yeah, there's silly walks. I could turn silly walks on. The game is more than funny enough without the silly walks. Nobody's given me a puzzle that involves knowing the definition of a word. So I have a feeling that that's just there for a gag. So yeah, the more I think about it, I don't know what I'm going to do once I build the Silenter. How I'm going to use that to destroy her. You got the gallery there. Oh, yes, go ahead and tell me. Because if I didn't notice it, or if I forgot about it, I'm definitely not going to know next Tuesday when we play this again. So, I'll take it. There's something to do with... There were dates... Oh, yes, thank you. Look up a date in it. What was it? No. What day did they say for him? 21st? There was a moon and somewhere... Alright, so now I will remember that for next time. Yeah, the speedrun had a donation for turning on silly walks. Although it's such a short speedrun that I would imagine you don't get to see very much of the walking. Alright, so with that in mind, I will remember that we are going to look up a date in that almanac. I might have noticed it the very next time that I opened up my inventory, or I might not have, because we had books that went unread for days. Alright. That's gonna do it for tonight. And I keep doing things. Okay. Alright. Thank you guys so much for being here. I don't know how much longer it'll take to beat this. We probably 2 more streams of it, I'm gonna guess. The main game isn't going to pose much of a challenge, but I would like to finish up Susie Cochrane's arc, and I don't know what we have to do for that. And Gun Manor has who knows how much left to it. Definitely tuning... I don't know if I would.